Welcome to InfluenceHER, produced by Baker Public Relations. I am your host, Megan Baker. Our communities feature some of the most extraordinary and strong women. These women are pioneers and visionaries who overcame obstacles, didn't wallow in defeat, but instead chose to rise. InfluenceHER provides a platform to empower and influence others. On today's episode, we are honored to welcome Julie McBride, a trailblazer in women's basketball. From her days as a standout at Syracuse University to her long professional career, Julie has lived and breathed the game at its highest levels. Today, she brings that experience to her role as head coach of the girls' varsity basketball program at Hoosac Prep School in Hoosac, New York. Her story is one of grit, heart, and purpose. Her leadership is redefining how young women are mentored and empowered in a new era of athletics. We are so proud to share your journey today, and thank you for finally joining us.
No, thank you for having me.
It's been some time.
Appreciate it.
I know. So obviously, my girls
Yeah.
have two in basketball. We have really been around it since they were way little, and just seeing the journey and how far along it's come. Want to talk to you about your own personal journey and how that all began and really how it helped shape you who you are today.
Well, I'll have to start with my foundation is my parents. And a lot of people don't know my story. My parents were 16 and 18 when they got married, had my older sister, and then 11 months me. Wow. So my parents were very young. My dad was one of 9 kids. We grew up surrounded by family. And my dad used to take me to his men's league games. And that is where my love for the game really developed. And my parents, we were poor. We didn't have anything growing up, and they worked hard. And my parents struggled, but we always had food on the table. We had always somebody looking after us. We had love, we had support, we had discipline. And I watched my parents grow up working hard to provide for us, and it just always instilled in me to continue to work hard and go after things that I wanted to do. So that is the foundation of how I grew up. And yes, I've been successful, but it never was given to me.
You never forgot it.
No. And my dad was a big advocate for working hard and not pointing fingers and not making excuses.
Accountability.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing that, I've taken with me my whole life is just, being accountable and not depending on somebody else. And my parents were just that foundation for me, and he used to, take me to the men's league games because they didn't have a babysitter. My mom was at night school. And I found the love. He didn't make me do it. He didn't put a ball in my hands. It just, I had to go with him, because, he had to go play. I mean, he was, that time 21, I was 4 or 5 years old. And, it was just one of those where
and it's good memories too that you're building.
Absolutely. And I just remember, being in the layup lines with these grown men and
Larger than life,
it
right?
It was. And it really developed my passion, my love, and my sense of I felt the truest myself on the basketball court where, I didn't care what anyone said about me. I was in my world I was my truest self.
And that really shows today. I mean, the fact that you spent 15 years playing professionally in all parts of the world, Turkey, Croatia, Poland, and then briefly with the Chicago Sky and the WNBA. Tell us about how those experiences helped shape you individually, but then also into the coach that you are today.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing was respect. I'm going to another country. They have different values. They have different cultures. And surviving 15 years playing in Turkey, which, everybody has a perception of Turkey and, Croatia and Poland. I respected that culture. I learned to adapt, the discipline of, being prepared every summer to go overseas for 8 months was something that I take with me into my life, just, being accountable. I signed a contract. I'm loyal to that. I have to do my job I have to prepare. So, the respect, and being in different cultures, you learn so much to not judge people. And that was something that I try so hard. When we're young, it's human nature to judge.
Right.
But being in other countries, I had teammates from Africa, from Texas, from all parts of the world. Everybody's different. You never know where they came from, and no one knew my story. They didn't know where I came from. And just the respect and, that you learn to not judge somebody else. And that was what I learned the most, and I really tried to focus on,
And it's what you instill in the girls on your team today at Hoosac, because I know that you do have women from all over as well.
Yeah, and I love it because the style of basketball in Europe is awesome. And to bring that here is, it's great for our Americans and our Europeans together, where they have to share a room or we're on a road trip. And, I'm trying to understand, I have a Russian player. We don't talk about, Russia, but she is here without her family the last 2 years.
And the sacrifices
and
that go along with
she struggles here a little bit, but our Americans start to see, well, why does she struggle? Well, because she's, from Russia. They eat different, they have different cultures, and she's trying to adapt to us. And I see a change in some of my players to not judge her, because of that's kind of our nature sometimes, right? To judge and not understand somebody, but talk to somebody and ask, how are you doing today? Do you need something? So it's just something, the accountability piece that I learned since I was little. When I was either the best player or the worst player. My coaches growing up always held us all accountable. And that's something that I do with my kids. Like, you're accountable no matter if you're the number one player or the last player on the team. Everybody's important. And I always felt that growing up. And I always had basketball to make me feel that I was important and that I was worthy. And so I just kind of try to talk that way to my players.
What inspired you to move into coaching? Because it's not easy. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really like, you know, teaching.
It is.
It's
100%. Yeah.
And I don't know how people do it today.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Well, I struggled, and even August is a hard month for me every year, the last 4 years, because it's that time that I'm preparing really to say goodbyes and like hop on a plane and leave for 8 months. And there's days where I miss it, and it's hard. It's very hard some days to see where I've done something my entire life and then it just changes. So my first year I retired, Coach Will Brown, who we didn't really know each other. I started working out his son because he was at Catholic High. He kind of called me out of the blue and was like, hey, do you want to coach with me? And I'm like, coach men on a semi-pro Albany Patroons? And I'm like, absolutely. It was a connection from stop playing. And I struggled. I didn't know. I mean, yes, I do have my own gym, and I love training kids, but there was something like, it was hard to deal with just stop playing. And Coach Brown was with Don Bassett and Brian Bury. So I got to learn coaching at that high level, being with the men. It really kind of helped me kind of put a Band-Aid over my, I guess, my depression a little bit of
course, from not playing.
Not playing.
Yeah.
And Coach Brown has been a big mentor in my life the last couple of years of, how to coach and how to speak to players and how to prepare for a practice and, how to prepare for a game, what you say. So I've learned a lot, good and bad, like things I would do, wouldn't do, and he's been a very big help for me. And he doesn't really know it because he's not, we have
he watches this.
Yeah, we have a great relationship. I mean, we talk once a week or more, and when I got the job at Hoosac and he ended up getting the job at St. Rose, he was at a couple of my practices just to support me. And he's been recently a big mentor. I've had a coach in Poland that I played for 6 years who was a huge mentor for me as well, just looking back on what we did professionally. And I think that's my biggest thing. I know my kids aren't professionals, but I try, hey, come and do your job and then be yourself.
Right.
Go and
Put the time in.
Put the time in. You're on the court. Be a professional. Support your teammates. Work hard. Sacrifice. And then when practice is over or training is over, go be who you are. And Hoosac has, I didn't know about Hoosac. Never saw it. I never even knew about it. I can be myself there as a coach, and I can be me, and what I value, what I believe in, and we allow our kids to do that because it's very college-like.
Yeah.
There's no hallways. I mean, you've been there.
It is like a campus.
Well, yeah,
it really is.
And you
is.
saw it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So kids are allowed to be themselves.
More structure too.
Yeah. And I want them, so I try to teach like how I was as a professional. I had teammates that had families, that had kids there. I roomed with a girl from Croatia who had her 5-year-old son in our hotel room with us. She came and did her job, and then she went home. And I learned that and just kind of take it every year. I played pro, and then the last 4 years of what I'm doing in my life.
How would you describe your coaching style?
Crazy. I was a point guard, so we're very energetic. I show my emotions. As I'm getting older and I'm starting to learn, and as a coach, and I think about when I played, what did I want? I wanted a relationship with a coach. So as a coach, I'm really more invested. And kids today, when we talk social media, it's hard.
It's so different.
So
different.
I wouldn't say I'm a therapist, and I'm not, but that's part of your job now, is really to, make them know that, I'm going to be hard on you. I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to yell at you, but I'm also going to praise you. I'm going to be there for you.
And you do it because you care.
Yes. And I certainly don't do it for the money, and I never played for the money, and that's why I think I survived 15 years playing pro, because I put my passion and my love first. And, kids today have it's hard for them.
Different mindset. I tell my kids all the time. Find something you're passionate about. Doesn't care about what you're going to make. Income wise, like career. Find what you're passionate, and it'll follow.
Yeah. And I learned that from my parents because really we grew up. Well, they had nothing. My parents were 16 and 18, and they're still together to this day.
Oh,
and
that's remarkable.
I'm one of 4 kids, and my dad was one of 9, and.
It's a success story.
Yeah, really, and I've learned it from my parents that money is not everything, and to find your joy, to find your love, your passion, your habits, and we go through cycles in life too. I mean, I didn't know I wanted to be a coach. I was so focused on playing.
And now things have changed. And we know we're talking about money and doing it for, because you're passionate about it. Now you have NIL.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that and providing these opportunities for young athletes in college that you didn't once have?
Yeah. I'm a little mixed feelings because, again, I don't think a player, a young lady, should choose a school based off of NIL deals. There's a lot more that goes into it than money. Right. So
education.
Exactly. Your coaches, the style you play in, the atmosphere. There's so much. So it's hard when I'm watching some players choose because they got more money at the school. I don't agree. I don't believe in that. But I also think it's a great opportunity for women and even in men to get. Everybody has a worth, right? So I'm a little mixed on it as far as NIL because, again, Michael Jordan, who I idolized growing up, my favorite player. I watched him all the time. He was like everything to me. And he was very professional. And he came out and saying, well, we're giving these kids something that they didn't even earn. And that I struggle with that a little bit because he's right. Like, they didn't earn that. But then I'm trying to understand our world that we're living in today. We talk about paying the sports. Well, why the men, everybody likes the flashy, how many likes I'm going to get on Instagram, and NBA, they're dunking, they're a little bit more exciting than the women because they play the right way. Not that the NBA doesn't, but they play fundamental games. They have pull-up jumpers. everybody touches the ball on offense. In the NBA, one guy touches the ball.
Right.
So that our society has made it, well, that's more attractive. So they're getting that much more money. And then the WNBA, that's why they're not getting money, because they're actually playing the game how the NBA used to play the game years ago.
The pay disparity drives me crazy.
You know, and I'm all for the women getting paid. However, they shouldn't get paid where the men are getting paid. The revenue is not there. I've watched from my first year in pros, I signed a contract in the Chicago Sky for $38,000.
Oh my goodness.
Now it's $80,000 in 20 years. What I made my first year in pro to what they're making today, I was like, wow, they're lucky today. But the girls that are coming out now, they don't know what we had way back then, so they're just focused on what the NBA has or what your men have. But I've seen it grow over the last couple of years because I was there. 2004 was my first year. So I'm mixed. Like, I want them to, get what they're worth,
right.
Because it is. Money does make our world go around, unfortunately. But I think, they have to understand the value of our game.
Well, another very controversial topic is the transfer portal.
Yeah.
That's another thing. It's like the love-hate. A lot of coaches, are complaining and saying there's no commitment, there's no dedication.
No.
You're losing your team because they're able to transfer.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't really like it because there's no accountability.
Yeah.
When I was at Syracuse, if we were to transfer within the Big East, so if I was like, I want to go to UConn, I had to sit out 2 years. So that, of course, I'm like, okay, well, did I have it perfect at Syracuse? No. I remember calling my dad crying because I wasn't starting and I wasn't playing that much my first couple games. And he was like, don't ever call me again, crying. Right. Go get better.
Look at the opportunity you have,
yeah.
Right?
And I did. And then I ended up starting like 14 or 10 games into my freshman year and then played 40 minutes the rest of my career. Some kids just get up and leave. And there's that no accountability. So, and again, but then I look at it, well, coaches could just leave too. There's no accountability on their piece as well. So, I mean, again, there's got to be some fix. There's got to be some change with it. There's got to be some accountability to it. I think COVID didn't help. And I think that's where it started.
I think so.
They were allowing, there's certain, someone can transfer if they're, they have a family member that's ill or some circumstances that, are hard for a kid. I understand that. And they honor that. Then say, we'll honor stuff like that. But to transfer because you're not playing, well, then why did you go there in the first place?
Right.
So again, I think every situation is different. Talking to college coaches a lot, some love it. Some are like, that's all we look at now. And I'm like, well, what about the high school kids?
It's giving,
right.
It's causing a lot of difficulty for the high school kids too that are coming up.
Right. And then they're like, well, they're seasoned. They've been through the college, preseason, postseason, the experience. They're ready to go. And I'm like, well, I disagree with it. I think there's some a lot of high school kids that are in prep schools that are in really good high school programs that are going to be prepared. Whether I played, you're never going to be 100% prepared to go to Division I, a college preseason, for example.
And let's talk about that too, because I feel like there's so much focus on D1, D1.
Yeah.
And I hear it too. I do. But it is really a commitment.
Yeah.
And I've talked to athletes, not just on the basketball side, but who have gone on to these D1 schools, and it really is rigorous, especially when you're trying to uphold your academic achievement, right along there. There's no downtime. It's a lot of work. So talk us through some of that, what that looks like, and the difference between a D1 and D3.
Yeah. Well, the Division I, you're really an athlete student. They say student athlete because they have to,
right.
But I lived it. I was an athlete and then a student first. And that's okay.
Right.
I got my work done. I had opportunities, I had access, I had resources to help me. We had tutors, we had study table, we had resources to really make sure that we were going to, like, I had to go to class. I didn't, we had to sit in the first 2 rows and our coaches would come and check us. So when I got to prep school, I really saw the value in Division III. They give a lot of money for academics. Talking to Division III, it's the same thing. Yeah. It's the same accountability.
It is.
They still have academic scholarships, so that's still like an athletic scholarship. It's the same thing. They're holding them accountable to do their job. Mm-hmm. So I think...
And if you don't perform, that scholarship's taken away.
Yeah, and D3, I think it's easier for them because they can have up to 20. They can have 20 kids on a roster. Because there's no athletic scholarship. Division I, there's only 12 or 15 full scholarships. So, D3, I mean, they can, okay, well, she's not doing her job. She's not performing or whatever the case is. They have a lot more to go to.
They do.
And there's, kids are, going Division III for academics, and at the prep schools, I saw the value of Division III. I had a kid my first year at Hoosac go to a Division III school at Smith College. She's not paying a dime. Yeah. And she's getting paid $3,500 a semester.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's a Division III, and they're top 10 in the country.
A lot that athletes really should take into consideration.
100%. It's not my team from last year, every kid is going to play college basketball from Division I to Division III.
That's remarkable.
I mean, every single of my 9 kids, I have 10, one's going to prep school next year. So again, like, I want my kids to go to college, and I want them to be a part of a team, to be a part of a community, that basketball community. It doesn't have to be Division I.
Let's, if we can, like, was there a defining moment or a player or coach that you can recall in your past that really, made you or reminded you of your love for the game?
I have so many. My high school coach, for sure. When I first went to Catholic High, when I was, in my teens, and I went from a public school to a private school. She played at UAlbany, and she was a great influence for me, and she was tough, and she was a basketball player. Like, she understood, and she always stood by me. She always pushed me. She never treated me as the best player. And that my teens, but I'll never forget when I talk about the layup lines with my dad. When I was a kid, those moments, the joy, I loved it.
Having that feeling.
Yeah. I can't explain it. I always go back to my dad was playing at the Mechanicsville Civic Center, and I was in the layup line, and it was just that joy of the game. I loved it. I loved it.
When your players look back, whether it's 2 years from now, 5 years from now, once they're beyond college, even later, what do you want them to remember about, what you instilled in them at a young age?
That coach was hard on me, but she loved me. And just the accountability piece. It's funny because, they go to college and they call me. And this is my favorite part. They're like, "Coach, you're right." And I'm like, "Why couldn't you just say that like
2 years ago?"
Right. They're like, "Yeah, Coach, I understand." And I love those moments. I don't want to thank you. I hate when they put me on social media and thanking me. I don't want it. But I love the phone call and be like, "Coach, you're right." When they go to college and they understand how to be part of a team, really, and to be selfless and not all about you. In high school, it's different. But at my prep school, we have high-level players that are just like, some of them are going to be in the pros. So it's, the growth of seeing all of my players is what's most important. Like, I don't need to talk to you every day. They always know that I'm here for them.
Yeah. Coaching demands so much of your time and energy and heart. And I see it too with my girls, and am very aware of who has helped them along their journey, even taking time to improve their shooting skills. It is. I mean, it's just, you have to love it, right? And you do it because you do love it so much. But what keeps you grounded and inspired?
my family, I guess, you know. Like I said, we've always been close. I don't take things personal anymore. You know, I just, you know, if I'm training somebody, they come in my gym, I do my job for them. And then a year they might be with somebody else. I don't take it personal. I know that if they're gonna walk into my gym or my training session, I'm gonna do everything I can to make them better in that hour or hour and a half or 2 hours. And I feel good. That keeps me grounded because I go home at night and I know that I did my best for that player. So I think, you know, obviously being with my family now, I missed for 20 years, and, you know, going to birthday parties I didn't get to go to and stuff like that definitely, you know, has helped me grounded, but also knowing that I don't really take things personal. I come and do my job. You know, I try to help them. I love helping people. I love helping kids that love to play the game, that I see that passion in that. Does it bother me sometimes when, and I think that's why I'm not training all the time, because there are some kids that they don't love it, and that's okay. But I don't want to work out with you. I mean, I want kids that want to be there and like to have the passion. And it's okay if you don't. It's okay.
It might be something else,
Right, and not everybody is going to be,
find your passion.
you know, what there's 1% is going to go play pro. There's 10% is going to go play D1. You know, so I'm okay with that. But it's just like, if I'm coming to do my job, just come and work hard for me.
Coach, if you could sit down from your younger self, you know, and have a conversation when you first had basketball in your hands, what would you tell her about the journey?
Oh, just...
Any regrets?
No, none at all. Maybe a little bit at Syracuse. I wish I studied something different. But basketball, I mean, I felt like I gave it everything I could. I didn't cheat it. I didn't, you know, ask for a favor from it. If I stepped on the court, I gave it everything I could that day. And I would tell myself, just always work hard and don't expect anything. Just, you know, be proud of yourself, be confident in yourself. I think it's a big issue with kids today. They're not confident in themselves because they're caring about what somebody else says. And that was one thing that helped me. I didn't care what anyone said about me. And just to keep going and be patient. I wasn't always patient. I wanted it right now. I wanted to go play pro, you know, so just to continue to be patient.
I always had a German contractor tell me one time, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, being patient. Yeah.
Well, this has been an amazing conversation, Julie. Thank you so much,
thank you.
Coach McBride from Hoosac Prep School. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for sharing your story about, you know, where you got your start, and then now how you're all making it happen as a coach. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.